It doesn't come from talent, but from repetition, reflection, and tuning out the noise. You may have to face the fear of being left behind, the fear of being less, the fear of being called a bookworm or always at home. But ask yourself, do you want a loud life or a deep and powerful one? The difference lies in the small choices you make every day. Daring to spend time at home, daring to focus on one skill, daring to practice something until it becomes second nature. Starting today, try to dedicate just 1 hour each day to learning, reading, or practicing. No distractions, no interruptions. It's the safest, most certain investment for your future. Don't miss out on those deep conversations with yourself. That's where every real skill, every true piece of knowledge starts to grow. You don't need to become a genius. Just be persistent, deep, and don't waste your life. This only happens when you dare to separate yourself from distractions. Turn your home into a dojo and go deep within day by day. That's when you'll see yourself grow, feel more confident with real knowledge and robust skills regardless of how the outside world changes. This is the result of steadfastness, of making the right choices, and of having the courage not to let yourself get swept away by the world's noise. At home, you control your process, and that is the only way to develop great lasting skills and knowledge. Preserve your energy for what truly matters. 6. Preserve your energy for what truly matters. Life energy is a finite resource. The older you get, the more you feel this truth. When we're young, we think we can do everything. Show up at every party, every event, always ready to help, throw ourselves into every activity. But as time goes on, you realize every time you rush to join a meaningless party or a social gathering, you're trading away energy that could have been used to build real value for yourself. Today's society encourages busyness and multitasking. Everyone likes to show off a full schedule, ready to take on more, always expanding their network. On the surface, everyone seems to be living their fullest. But if you look deeper, you'll see that many, after weeks of connecting, are left exhausted and empty, with no inspiration left for the things that matter most. Energy gets spread everywhere. Nothing goes deep. No relationship is truly nurtured, and no achievement is great enough to be proud of. I once knew a man like that. He was everywhere. Parties, sports, conferences, friend groups. At the start of the week, he was proud of his time management. By the weekend, he was tired, had no energy for family or himself, and had no motivation to study or improve. Outward success was just a facade. He realized he was wearing down bit by bit with small things and relationships that added no real value. Then he began to ask himself, what do I really want to invest my energy in? For the first time, he realized he hadn't set limits. He said yes to every invitation, afraid of being left out, afraid of losing connections, afraid of being labeled as closed off. But when he started staying home, declining meaningless invitations, everything changed. At first, guilt was unavoidable, but soon after he found his energy was no longer stretched thin. He had time for his wife and kids, for his health, for learning, and most importantly, for himself. At home, you get the chance to look back at what you've missed by letting your energy leak into things that aren't truly important. Maybe you've traded a meaningful evening with your child for drinks with colleagues just for fun. Maybe you could have learned a new skill, but let time slip away in endless small talk. Sometimes solitude is more bearable than losing yourself in trivial pursuits. A big issue for many men is the fear of being forgotten, of being seen as boring. But in truth, no one remembers someone who's everywhere, but everyone respects the one who preserves their energy, who only appears where it truly matters. Value doesn't lie in the number of relationships you have, but in the strength you bring in being fully present in what matters most. Saying no is never easy, but it is the starting point for all maturity. When you focus on conserving your energy, you become deeper in everything you do. listening attentively to your children, training your health with greater determination, reading and learning more proactively and deeply. By knowing your limits, every moment becomes meaningful. Every action leads to real results. The simple truth: your energy is limited. Every yes to others is a no to yourself, to your family, to your bigger goals in life. When you stay home, you learn to ask, is this worth my energy? If not, do I have the courage to say no? Over time, you'll stop fearing judgment, stop fearing displeasing others. You'll know what's truly important and what's just a passing social temptation. Stoicism doesn't teach you to be closed off, but to know your boundaries. Philosopher Marcus Aurelius once reminded, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? Just one question repeated often enough will completely change the way you manage your energy, change the quality of all your relationships, and the results you achieve. You don't have to be everywhere to feel valuable. You only need to be fully present in the important places with family, in the work you love on your own path of self-growth. Let meaningless invitations and empty pleasures drift away like the wind. That's how you preserve your energy, protect your peace, and live a life that isn't wasted. Starting today, dare to stay home more. Dare to say no to social invitations just for show. Dare to prioritize yourself, your family, and what you truly want to nurture. Life is short, energy is limited. Don't let it leak away into things that don't truly matter. Save it for what makes you proud, what helps you grow, what lets you live deeply. That is the only path to true peace and real achievement. The spirit of a Stoic. Growing stronger in solitude. 7. Growing stronger in solitude. Loneliness is often labeled as the mark of a loser, an outcast, or someone with issues. But the greatest truth, one not everyone dares to admit, is that what we fear most is not being alone, but not knowing what to do with the silence when there's no one around us. The more modern society becomes, the harder people run from loneliness, burying themselves in work, entertainment, social media, and rushed appointments. But truly, strong people don't just overcome loneliness, they grow from it. I used to be like that. There were times I constantly reminded myself, someone has to be by my side, I have to go out, I have to show up everywhere. Every time I stayed home with no laughter, no one checking in, I felt anxious, afraid I'd be forgotten, as if I had become meaningless. That fear smoldered inside me, haunting me, pushing me to fill every moment with busyness. But it was precisely during those quiet evenings at home, when only silence remained, that I realized something. The fear of loneliness is just a shadow inflated by the mind. When you're patient enough to stay, to sit still without your phone, without the TV, without rushing to find something to do, that's when you finally start to hear the deepest voice inside yourself. That is where it's just you and God face to face. That private space is where you can converse with yourself, speak with the Creator, ask about the meaning of life, and answer with your most honest self. Stoicism does not tell you to run from loneliness. It teaches you to embrace it, to turn loneliness into the foundation upon which inner strength is built. When you're brave enough to sit still, you finally see yourself clearly. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your small joys, your wounds yet to heal. There's no need to perform, to fight for attention, to fear being left behind. True freedom begins the moment you accept being alone and still feel fulfilled. Just as Aristotle once said, whosoever is delighted in solitude is either a wild beast or a god. Many confuse loneliness with a lack of love, a lack of care from others. In truth, you can feel lost even in a crowd. True loneliness is when you lose connection with yourself. And the solution isn't to find more people, but to learn how to converse with, accept, and nurture yourself from within. Staying home is the perfect condition to practice this. You need to answer only to yourself and God's expectations for you. No one needs to check in to agree to message you. The deepest maturity comes from those moments when you dare to live honestly, dare to face the emptiness, and fill it with your own resolve, faith, and patience. Many ask if you stay home a lot, live alone, won't you become isolated, become weaker? My answer is always, the person who is lonely and afraid grows weaker by the day. But the one who knows how to enjoy, to observe, to build meaning from the smallest things will grow stronger by the hour. At home, you learn to care for yourself not just physically, but spiritually. Making your own tea, cooking your own meals, planning your own days, talking to God when you need comfort. These are crucial exercises that build character. Don't think you need someone to validate your worth. That value is forged every time you dare to face the fear of loneliness. Dare to endure the quiet. Dare to stand firm while others chase the crowd. Whisper to God in your heart, I am here alone, but not empty. It is in silence that you hear the inner reminders, the quiet encouragement that every person has their own path and no one else can live your life for you. Stoicism teaches that all external upheavals affect you only if you allow them. When you are strong in solitude, seeing time alone as a chance to grow, to connect with God and yourself, you no longer fear loss, rejection, or judgment. Because every true value you need comes from within,